Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over Chamath's one-pager, Chamath Palihapitiya. He's the billionaire who took SoFi public through a SPAC deal. This was released back in 2021, and I want to review the original thesis that Chamath had around SoFi. He's famous for putting out these one-pagers and listing sort of what the overall thesis is. And I think it's a good summary for people who have never heard about the company or want to understand a little bit more what the synopsis is about why a company is investing or choosing to take them public. And this was his thesis. So first, let's go through the summary. Incumbent banks have been hamstrung coming out of the great financial crisis. Legacy technology that is in some cases 50 to 70 years old has limited the capacity of incumbent banks to thrive in an increasingly digital native world. This makes sense. Your Bank of America, your Chase app, your Wells Fargo, they're not digitally native. They are legacy institutions, and that presents a market opportunity for other disruptive companies to come into the mix. Meaningful chances to change or to regulatory capital ratios, reduced activity in the profitable businesses areas such as trading, and increased operational oversight have all restricted their growth. These are things like, Robinhood with commission-free trading, things like that. Focus on short-term return on equity has driven restrictive lending practices and poor customer experience. It is very hard to get a loan from a bank. And shareholder returns and total market cap of the largest banks have been flat and largely decoupled from rates since December 2013, which means investing in the banks just really hasn't been a good strategy from a shareholder appreciation perspective. Next, innovation is emerging rapidly to disrupt these legacy banking practices. Since 2010, 296 neobanks, which are new banks, have been funded to disrupt core checking and savings account capability globally. Now remember, when you're a bank and you have access to people's money, the things you can do with that money, the financial services you can offer them, it's almost, one could argue, a lot more powerful than being a social media company and having access to people's data when you have access to their literal money, right? Their credit card. So if you have all these new banks coming into place and you have less people putting their money into JP Morgan Chase and more people putting money into something like a SoFi, there's a lot of disruption there that could happen. Since 2010, more than $500 billion has been invested worldwide to disrupt the entire financial services ecosystem. Consumer expectations in fintech are converging to what consumers already demand in other areas of the economy, driving a consumer migration from legacy products to new startups that offer three things: low or no fees. Everyone hates fees, especially if they make small mistake, like they have an overdraft for 30 minutes and then they're charged $35 when they bought something that was $5. Second, fair and transparent lending because of the regulatory practices and honestly, the discriminatory practices of these legacy institutions. It's hard to get a loan and to have transparent lending. And then three, multiple products and a one-stop shop for a variety of consumer financial needs. Can I get my Roth IRA? Can I get my 401k? Can I buy my stocks? Can I buy my crypto? Can I get my lending? Can I do all of this stuff in one place? SoFi has the ability to do that. So some qualitative things that he said. SoFi has built a suite of best-in-class digital solutions to help consumers get their money right. More than 56,000 ratings in the App Store, average of 4.8 stars. That was actually back in 2021. Let me load up my App Store right now, and we're going to update this. SoFi now has an average rating of 4.8 still, but instead of 56K ratings in January of 2021, they now have 183,000 ratings, and they're number 69 on the iOS finance charts. 69. They had more than 1.8 unique members in 2020, expected to go to 3 million unique numbers by 2021. Now I believe it's 4.3 million members in 2022. They offer a full suite of lending products and financial services to consumers, which has driven increasing adoption and sequential quarter-over-quarter growth for the past 6 quarters. In lending, they have student loan refinancing, which is going to start again in 2023. In-school lending, personal loans, home loans, credit cards. In financial services, they offer SoFi Money, SoFi Invest, and SoFi Credit Card. They also offer the leading enterprise banking infrastructure platform for other fintech companies, and this is my major bull case on SoFi. This is the AWS of fintech, aka the Galileo product that they acquired back in 2020 for about $1.2 billion, which provides the core banking infrastructure that not only powers SoFi, but also other leading fintech companies, including Robinhood, Chime, Dave.com, Moneyline, among others. All of these companies are operating under Galileo's technology, which is owned by SoFi, which means whenever they make a transaction, through payment processing via the API that Galileo provides, application programming interface, SoFi makes a little bit of money, which is really cool because Amazon makes a lot of money every time you have companies using AWS, and they made $62 billion last year, which means a lot of companies are using AWS. If that even, at 10% of that happens for SoFi, that's a big opportunity. The Galileo infrastructure was responsible for enabling a large majority of all the new neobank account creation in the US in 2020. Now, this is also important. All the new banks that started in 2020 happened because of Galileo. So the reason you're able to start a bank or start a fintech startup, which is a lot more difficult than starting a regular startup because of regulatory things and again, those APIs to do payment processing, which you need to be able to do if you're a financial services technology company. If you use Galileo, and Galileo makes it as easy as AWS makes it easy to get compute for your content or for the data that you're storing as a startup, that is a very big opportunity for SoFi to capitalize on. Some qualitative things about SoFi. They have the best-in-class customer acquisition cost and churn, allow for their best-in-class contribution margins and rapid growth. 65% of home loan sales came from upsells to existing members. 24% of new product sales came from upsells to existing members. Adjusted net revenues are scaling rapidly with 5-year CAGR, which is a compounded annual growth rate, forecasted to be about 43% year after year, which is insane. 2020, they did 621 million revenue. 2021, end of the year, they did 980 million in revenue. 2025, end of year, they're expecting to do 3.67 billion in revenue. Now, the forecast profitability in 2021 with growing adjusted EBITDA margins approaching 32% by 2025. So they're expected to make about 1.17 billion in profit by 2025, which is 32% profit is not that bad. Margin of safety for new investors, EV 6.58 billion, equity value 8.65 billion. They're trading 6 times their 2021 EV to revenue, trading 1.8 times 2025 EV to revenue. So, I mean, overall, and some of those numbers obviously are a little bit changed now that it's 2022, but you get a good understanding that from a valuation perspective, it's reasonable. From a qualitative perspective, in terms of do people like the product, the ratings that they have in the App Store, the fact that people are using it, the growth that they're having in terms of members that are signing up, that makes a lot of sense. And then the Galileo argument. I mean, that argument I think is just incredible. We didn't even talk about Anthony Noto and leadership, and I'm surprised Chamath didn't even put that in the one pager, because if I was him, I would be like, that guy's a rock star. You want to bet on that guy. That guy knows what the hell he's doing. But the AWS of fintech stuff is interesting. And I want to go even deeper in future pieces of content to understand what Galileo does specifically. I understand it allows fintech companies to process payments using their API, which is the basic synopsis of it. But going even deeper into that will help me understand how SoFi specifically gets paid every time something happens with another fintech startup. But the fact that all of them are starting by using Galileo, to me, that's the bull case. Right? Like the lending stuff is cool. And like, yeah, you're going to get new members and it's more fun to use than Bank of America or JP Morgan. And it's more easy and there's more opportunity there. But lending is not the Super Bowl case to me. That's a great way to make revenue. That's a great way to have financial services. That's, a good thing that Anthony Noto is going to be operating on to drive the company forward, but really innovating and disrupting the financial services through creating this AWS of fintech. That to me is where we get a new opportunity. I've heard a lot of people in the comments say, it's not AWS. It can't be compared to AWS. And I think there's a misunderstanding of what AWS does. AWS, I have a startup, allows you to host your data, your storage, your content in their infrastructure through their big warehouses in the cloud. So you don't have to buy physical servers to be able to have things get done on your product. So Twitch in 2007, they had real physical servers when people were live streaming, which they had to buy hundreds of servers because you have to be able to serve that demand when people are using your product. If AWS was around back then, all of that stuff would not only be 1/100th of the cost, but it would all be done virtually through this cloud, which is why AWS is used almost everywhere, which is why Azure and Google Cloud are trying to catch up to them, because cloud computing and Microsoft obviously is a big place and a big opportunity. If you can offer that same type of ease of use through a platform approach for financial technology startups and companies that are trying to get their products to market, and you get a little piece of that every time they operate, that's the exciting part to me. So overall, this was Chamath's initial thesis. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Let me know if you agree, disagree. If you want to crap on Chamath, the comments are there for you to crap on Chamath. But I did another video where I said it's not, I think he gets a little bit of hate. That's probably not that warranted. So anyway, thank you for listening and watching, and let me know your thoughts on SoFi. I'll see you in the next one.